Hello, I'm Daniel Sketchley.
And I'm Callum Beirne.
We've been friends for more than 10 years, sharing lifelong passions such as film and music,
But most importantly, football, through the ups and the downs.
the celebration and the heartbreak.
However, he's a bluenose.
And he's a villain.
This is the Second City podcast. Good evening, Mr. Sketchley. How are you?
Hi, hello, mate. How are you? How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Can't
Good, good,
complain.
good. I'm a little, as I was telling you before we came on, I'm a little snivelly at the minute, a little flued up. I went on holiday to Ireland last week, and we had a house of just ill people by the end of it, to be honest. That's why Cal's really glad we're doing this meeting over Zoom and not in person.
Yes,
Yes, it's
absolutely.
not nothing serious, thankfully. I was well enough to go to the Blues on Saturday, thankfully. I've been able to go to work and everything, but just a little bit. I've had better days. It's mad. It's like mid-August, and I'm just all. This is wrong, man. This just shouldn't be the case in mid-August.
The weather's been
Yes,
pretty dreadful as well, but it
it's
is what
been
it is, isn't it?
horrendous. It's been horrendous. Yeah, but yes. So this is our first podcast that we're gonna actually share with the world. We've done a few like practice ones, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. We've been talking about doing a podcast for quite a long time now, haven't we, Dan? Probably about at
Yeah,
least 12 months, maybe a bit longer than
yeah.
that.
I remember chatting to you. We'd spoken about it before, but I remember chatting to you about it like sort of seriously for the first time on New Year's, if you know what I mean, like New Year's Eve
Yeah,
just gone. Um, but like we'd mentioned it before though, and like, but we kind of came up with like concepts around New Year. And as I say, it's August now, so it's finally getting around to it.
yeah. So we've, as Dan said, we've done a few practice ones. We thought we'd try and launch on the new season. So I'm sure it'll get better as we go through it and start publish them a bit
Yeah,
more. But
but like I guess the concept is obviously we talk a lot about football. I mean, anyway, just in our spare time. Obviously, I'm a Blues fan. You're a Villa fan.
yeah,
And it's just really, I don't know, it's we always have very good, I feel like we always have very good conversations about football though, and we have a good understanding of like each other's clubs and so on. And it's quite interesting getting the perspective of sort of the two sides of Birmingham. Think like the rest is politics, but for football. It's kind of
yeah,
the theme for the podcast, if you know what I mean.
yeah. Well, it's not that we're putting our rivalries aside because there will be that
Yeah,
sort of tit for tat, but it's
yeah,
also giving you a bit of insight onto the other side because I feel like the phrase "keep your friends close but your enemies closer," know your enemy, sort of thing.
yes, absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. And especially at the minute with like the clubs being in separate divisions and having very different things going on. And it's also just an interesting way for us. Obviously, you live like down south now. I live in Birmingham still. It's just a cool way for us to catch up as well, talk about something we're really
yeah,
passionate about. So it's as much for us as it is for anyone else, really. So,
wicked. So
yeah,
reluctantly, shall we actually start talking about the football?
yeah. Well, first of all, should we get into a topic we're going to start every show with, which
Yes.
is what we're wearing? So we're going to start. We have like another thing we talk about constantly, and we will. I can see us doing whole episodes on this in the future. Is kits. We just buy football shirts like religiously.
Yeah.
And so we start each episode. We'll wear a different shirt every episode, but different. I'll wear a different blue shirt. Obviously, Cal will wear a different Villa shirt. And we'll talk about what that shirt means to us, when it's from, our memories of that time at the club, and so on. So, do we start with you in the Villa?
Yeah, I've got last year's home shirt. You'll see why in a second, Dan. But this is a shirt with good memories.
Yeah,
Obviously, the season started really poorly under he who must not be named. Before Unai Emery took over, and we've qualified for Europe for the Conference League playoff, which is coming up. So it was a really good season for us in the end last year. But the main reason I've worn this shirt, Dan, is for what's on the back, which
oh,
is I don't know if you can see,
oh, rest in peace.
is Mings number 5.
Yes, oh gosh,
So
that
I
aged
I had another
poorly.
shirt which arrived this week. I'll tell you a bit of a story. So I was really excited for football to return. Called my friend Will up, our friend Will, and was like, "Hey, you're an Arsenal fan. You're on telly at 12:30. We're on at 5:30. Let's have a day in the pub and watch the football," which we did. So I had a shirt that arrived, and that will come out on another date.
Nice.
But because of what happened in the game and how much bad luck that shirt brought, decided not to wear it for the first podcast.
Fair enough. Very interesting. I assume that is one of this season's kits. It's not a retro kit. It's one of the brand new ones.
It's an old kit,
Oh, okay, okay. Interesting, interesting.
so
Okay. Oh, very interesting. I am wearing, I'm going to see a better view. I'm wearing 15, 16, 140th anniversary kit. Which I actually, so this kit, 2015 came out, so that's 8 years ago somehow. Um, but I only bought this kit about 6 months ago. There was like a pop. I always regretted not getting it. But a pop-up shop in Birmingham in the Bull Ring opened in like March or April, and they had this one for like 25 quid. And I always regret not getting it. I love like the sash design. It's got like supporters' names and like written into it. Um,
ah,
but it was just a really. It's got the unique badge as well. It's the first, it's the only season we had this badge for in like the modern era. Um, but first of all, it's probably the oldest kit that still fits me. Like in terms of if you went back in each season by season, obviously I bought it more recently, but whatever.
yeah.
Um, so I thought wear it now before I outgrow it. Um, and also it was just a really great season. It was the last time we finished. I think above 17th. We finished 17th or lower every season since. We finished 10th this year. We were like right in the playoff mix for ages, and we just dropped away at the end. It was Gary Rowett's only full season at Blues. And a really mad stat here. So this is 8 years ago, this kit was. John Eustace managing these first two games at Blues, first three games, including the Cup game this season. It's the first time since Gary Rowett that a Blues manager has started two consecutive seasons as Blues manager, which is insane. Like, so in that time, we've had
That is
who else have we had?
mental.
That's crazy. We've had who started the next season? Redknapp started one. Monk,
You've
Pep
missed
Clotet.
you've missed
Yeah,
Zola
but
out.
so sure, but Zola didn't even start a season. Zola was
No,
in
that's
the
true.
middle.
Yeah,
So and because Steve Cottrell was another one, he never even started a season. Clotet, Karanka, Boya. I think that's everyone, and now Eustace. That's a crazy stat. But yeah, I have a lot of. It was a great season, and this kit. I was in my first. We were in our first year at uni when this
yeah.
season was going on, and just yeah, just a great time, great memories, really good team. You know, we lost to you sadly in the cup, but in our first
Our
week at
worst
uni.
ever team.
Yes, yeah, sadly somehow. I'd argue we were the better team that night as well. I remember that game very well. But,
If I remember the first half, you battered us actually.
yeah, yeah, and I remember Jack McGoma missed a one-on-one, which would have made it 1-1 as well. But those wounds will heal another day, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite kits of yours in the modern era, actually. And there's
Yeah,
something about a Safs
I
design. A
agree.
Safs designed kit, I just love if it's done well.
Yeah, I
Um,
think this might sound like a weird thing to say as well, but it is like for a blues kit, it's like the perfect shade of blue, if you know what I mean, for me.
yeah,
I don't know, like we've
yeah.
had it kind of has varied over the years. But yeah, I really like this sort of tone. Um, so yeah, I didn't. It's the only Carbrini kit I've got as well, actually. But yeah, that's why I'm wearing it.
Nice.
Nice. Shall we get into the weekend?
Yeah, I guess we must. Shall
Yeah,
we start with the Premier League? Get it out of the
yes, we'll
way.
get the massacre of St James's Park out of the way.
We were truly humbled at the weekend. Truly,
So
truly humbled.
I didn't see. I went to Blues. I unfortunately didn't see any of the Villa game. I was out afterwards. So you're gonna have to fill me in here. What happened? I was shocked to see the score. Genuinely shocked.
I was shell shocked as well. And so was everyone else, I think, in the pub. Um, Weirdly, quite a lot of Newcastle fans in this pub at Marylebone, or people
Yeah.
wanting Newcastle to win. It was a bit strange.
Mm.
Um, but it was like the first, I don't know, half an hour was almost a bit like a basketball game in terms of like Newcastle scored very early on. We pretty much went down the other end and scored, and then they went back down the other end and scored. And no team could real get a proper grip on the game in the first half. Newcastle may be the better team, but I don't think we weren't terrible, and we were certainly in the game and competitive. Um, the Tyrone Mings injury probably changed the game completely, and it's a really frustrating one and a really sad one. Um, Obviously, earlier on, like 2 days previous, we've lost Emi Buendia for the season, who'd had an unbelievable pre-season. He'd been looking really, really good. Was Would have started at the weekend, probably ahead of Leon Bailey,
Yeah.
who got hooked at half time because his performance in the first half was not very good.
Mm.
Wasn't the only one, but his one right hand side was very, very poor throughout the game and very much so in the first half.
Yeah.
I remember saying this when just before Dean Smith got sacked, that Leon Bailey I found really frustrating to watch because he has got a lot of talent going forward, although he probably tries to do too much, but he doesn't do the defensive side of the game. And Matty Cash, I really like Matty Cash, but he was a winger converted to a fullback. So he's probably not going to be the best fullback or defensive fullback you've ever had. I think, almost a bit like a Trent Alexander-Arnold almost. He's
Yeah.
an all right fullback, but his main attributes are going forward. And I think Matty
Yeah.
Cash is a bit like that.
You think he suits a back three maybe more than a
I
back
think he
four?
would suit a back three massively, and I think so would Luka Dean actually. Um, so when Leon Bailey doesn't track back and help Matty Cash, he's got more to do, and I think it's a bit harder. And I guess been a problem for a while. It wasn't last season under Emery because Leon Bailey had played as part of the front two, and Emi Buendia, when the two of them were on the pitch, would be that sort of right-sided attacking player, or it'd be John McGinn, um, who is such a good box-to-box player, really. Um, but it's annoying because we were in the game, we lost Tyrone Mings, we brought Yuri Tielemans on at half time. And then Ezri Konsa's dropped an absolute clanger. He'd actually had a decent game up until the point where he's made a really poor mistake for the third goal, and we just fell apart at that point, and we just completely collapsed. And it was just gobsmacking to watch. Our back line was so disorganized. We tried to play the high line. I'm not going to slate the high line because it's worked so well for us. And look, in the same way, when you pass out from the back, it's how the modern game is. If you want to be a successful team, you need to play a high line and play out from the back. But you're going to make mistakes and you will get punished for it from time to time. It happens. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But there was a point where we probably should have abandoned the high line at the weekend, and we didn't. We went to a back five. We tried to keep it, and it was just so unorganised and so disjointed that all Newcastle had to do was put a ball over the top, and Harvey Barnes or Anthony Gordon would run onto the end of it, and we were all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, and whether that's because Tyrone Mings is more than just a great defender for us, but he's a leader and he organises that back line. Whether it was that.
Have they
It
said how
probably
long they
played.
think he's? Have they said how long they think he's going to be out for?
A very vague statement, which probably it's most likely out for the season. It looks like an
I
ACL.
mean,
It could be worse than
for
that.
him as well, it's I mean, his form. It sounds like under Emery, his form improved so much last season. He
Yeah.
must have been thinking Euros next year.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He's just got back into the England squad,
Yeah,
and he's out of Euro 2024
I mean that's oh
because even if he
horrendous.
does come back in, say, I don't know, February, he's lost his place in the England squad. He's not
Yeah,
in the next squad, is he? And those squads typically once you get in them, you'll
yeah,
stay there. But
and
unless you're the first name on the team sheet, which Tyrone
yeah.
isn't in the England squad, it'll be a
Southgate's kind of
Levi Colwill.
notorious. Yeah, and he's kind of notorious for like Southgate for a good few months before the tournament. He's pretty much picked his team, hasn't he? Like he
Yeah,
very
yeah.
rarely throws a wild card in, or although he's done it before with obviously Calvin Phillips and who's the other one who he took to the World Cup
James
who'd been injured?
Madison.
Like yeah, like he does things like that. Taking people who maybe haven't played all that much or have been injured for a long time. So you never know, but for him personally, that must be gutting, you know.
Yeah,
For him to get back to the level he was at, you know, because he really dropped under Gerrard.
yeah. I mean, a lot of players did
Yeah,
but he was probably one of the big sufferers of
yeah.
that era. So, and also, of course, he came to us when we were in the Championship, promotion, survived relegation, qualified for Europe. He won't actually get to play in Europe this season,
Oh,
which is probably quite gutting as well. I mean, we literally have the playoff in like 2 weeks.
yeah.
Um, so
Was
it's not was
was this
stuffing out
the
quite a lot of people, I think.
yeah? Was this the worst performance under Emery?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's certainly it's mad as well because last time you played Newcastle, you thumped them. It was like 3-0 at
Yeah,
Villa Park, and that's only a few
yeah,
months ago.
yeah. And the thing is, though, you look at the two starting 11s for us that day. There's quite a few big omissions, and we tried to go to St James's Park, which is probably the hardest, one of the top two hardest away days of the year. I'd say that and Manchester City, which is never
Yeah,
going to be easy on the opening day when everyone is buzzing on the opening day. Everyone wants to be at home on the opening day because everyone's excited for the new season. Um,
live on Sky as well, evening
yeah,
game. Like they're going to be bang up for it, aren't they? Like,
yeah. But we had no Jacob Ramsey, no Buendia, no Alex Moreno. We actually played Leander Dendoncker that day, who's injured at the moment as well.
all right.
Um, so quite a few players missing from that starting 11, really. Um, it is what it is. The result was neither here nor there, really, for me. The big thing was the injury to Tyrone Mings. And
Sure.
that's, for me, was more important than the result. But
With obviously it's only one game, but does it change your like perception of the next few games and where you're maybe at or anything like that? Because I feel
I
like
think
there's
it's,
been a lot of Villa fans seem to be really excited. A lot of people and a lot of neutral fans seem to be really excited about Villa as well.
yeah. I mean, for me, I mean, we've lost two big players in the space of a week. So we are probably going to dabble back into the transfer market. Um, I'm never a big fan of buying like seven players in a transfer window. I think if you improve, you really only want about four, maybe five, just to add to what you've got, and you lose a few players as well.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll replace Tyrone Mings because we've already got four centre backs already. Um, whether it looks like we're going to replace Emi when we're not replace Emi Buendia, but buy get this guy on loan from Galatasaray to sort of take that role. But it's an opportunity for players to step up. Philippe Coutinho, it's a great opportunity for him.
is he still
Leon
with you?
Bailey,
Is he still at
yeah,
Villa? I
yeah,
completely
he
forgot
came
he
on
was
at the
even still there.
weekend.
I was so convinced he'd go to Saudi or Saudi Arabia with
Yeah,
Gerrard or something. That seemed inevitable.
um, and then Jaden Philogene Bidace as well. It's a great opportunity for him as well. So
Yeah,
um, we'll see. But in terms of like expectations, for me, my expectations for the season were if we finish anywhere near where we did last year, we've had a good season. The main thing for us is the Conference League, and
yeah,
it's what I said to my people who were West Ham fans last year: is that is your season because that is a winnable trophy for you.
yeah.
We don't need to try and finish. If we, I don't think we're going to finish in the top four anyway. So maybe you're looking at maybe we'll try and get into that Europa League spot, go and win the Conference League. Be
Yeah, it's
hard,
probably
and
it
there's some
is.
good teams in it, but that's a great way to do it.
I would argue it's only as hard as finishing in the top six. I'm not sure which is more difficult, to be honest.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Conference League, I believe you'll be back at Villa Park soon.
Yeah, first home game of the season. Bought my ticket yesterday on
Love.
Monday. Um,
So this is for the Conference League game.
yeah, so for the second leg of that, so we don't actually know who we're playing yet. We're either
Oh, cool,
playing
cool.
Hibs or we're playing this Swiss team, Luzerne. Luzerne.
This will
Hibs
be
are
like
3-1
when.
up anyway after the first leg. They
Oh,
play
okay,
on
okay.
Thursday.
So this will be
So
like when Burnley played. Was it Aberdeen or something in the Europa
yeah,
League? That's so funny. Well, I'm sure it'll be a great occasion nonetheless. But yes, I'm sure Hibs wasn't quite what you were excited about.
it wasn't the dream European away day.
No, but it's true. Like when we were in the Europa League, we had who did we play in our qualifier? I think they were called CD Nacional. They're from Portugal. I can't remember. I think we were there with the qualifier rather than the group game. I just
Mm.
like never heard of them. Their stadium was like tiny, but it's like it's still like a huge, sellout occasion,
Yeah.
huge occasion. So no, I'm sure you'll have a great time.
Yeah, no, I'm really buzzing for that. And I think the atmosphere at Villa Park that night will be really, really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about you because it's a complete new era at Birmingham City this year.
Yeah,
Tom Brady involved.
Tom
What's the name of the
Brady.
new owner?
Yeah, our new owner's called Tom Wagner. He's a businessman who owns a company called Knighthead, based in New York. And so his first home game was the Leeds game on Saturday under their ownership. And I've renewed my season ticket this year, and I've genuinely not heard a noise in St Andrews before, quite like that, than the one before kickoff in probably 10 years. And bear in mind, the lower tiers are all still closed in the Tilton and Cop, so the capacity was only 20,000. And it was absolutely like rocking, honestly. It was really special. Um, really special day. It's kind of mad to think how quickly things change as well. Like a few months ago, it felt like the club was just finished and like we're never going to get out of this rut and so on. And
Well, it
now,
was
like, it's
everyone was seeing it as a matter of time before you went down.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But now it's like a complete. I'm not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting like amazing things on the pitch this season. But for the first time in a very, very long time, I feel very positive about Blues, and I feel like we are genuinely at the start of something really just going back in the right direction. Um, Everything just feels so much better. Communication with the fans has been absolutely excellent. Tom Wagner's putting open letters out, as is Gary Cook, who's the new CEO, and is a lifelong Blues fan. Their communication with the fans has been excellent. They've made loads of renovations to the outside of the ground. It's only small things, but the outside of the stadium just looked so much better. They put the big badge on the outside of the Cop, and just it all looked very run down before, and just looks so much better now. Before kickoff, they made a real effort. They had a great tribute to Trevor Francis. Jasper Carrott came out and read a speech, which was really lovely, I thought. And just little things like as the players came out, they came out with like the fire, like like the flamethrower things. So like that was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
epic. And then they kept coming out, and as they walked past the dugouts, like a series of fireworks went off.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, it might seem like really sort of materialistic stuff, but I was like, it was a statement of them saying like, for context, at Blues the last few years, I go to games and I'd be like kind of mystified as to how they even managed to put a match day on because it's just so incompetent on every level, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
Um, like everything about the club just felt so run down and pathetic. And before kickoff, I was like, this is what happens when you have people that actually make an effort and actually seem to care. And the whole Tom Brady thing came as a huge. I knew he had connections to Tom Wagner, but it was a huge surprise to see him actually involved in this way, and very surreal to see him actually like at the game. It's like I don't follow the NFL at all, and even I know who Tom Brady is.
Yeah.
Um, and I've seen people saying it's like a publicity stunt and so on. But even if it is, say it is, if it means that people's eyes are on the club and you're inviting someone like him along and he's at the game, you got to make an effort, if you know what I mean. And you kind of
Yeah.
it ups everyone's standards, and that's what it really felt like on Saturday. It felt like just the standards of the day and the fan experience was so much higher. And I went to the game with, so he's my cousin's boyfriend basically, and he's from like Essex. And before the game, so he's an Arsenal fan. And before the game, he genuinely said he'd never heard a noise like it in the stadium. In a stadium, it was like absolutely remarkable. The keeper on before kickoff was absolutely insane. Um, and then the game was absolute crap. Like it was a really rubbish match. It was Leeds. I don't know. Leeds have. I know they've got a lot of squad issues, but they were absolute dross. They were so poor.
I
Um,
don't envy Daniel Farke's job there this year at all.
no, it feels like they really haven't resolved their transfer business at all, and now the season's rolling, and they've still got players wanting to leave, and they haven't replaced them. But we were pretty poor as well. Kevin Long had a few free headers from corners which he missed. Um, but other than that, the game was honestly really uneventful. And then in the 91st minute, Dan James, so Siriki Dembele is one of our new signings. but a crossfield ball across. Right back Ethan Laird tears in on the opposite side, gets into the box, and Dan James takes his feet from under him. We get a penalty, and the man, my favourite ever Blues player, Lukas Jutkiewicz, steps up as he does with every penalty he's ever taken. He just twatted it down the middle. That's all he did. He has literally no plan B. Melier literally got a foot on it, and the ball still went in, thankfully, and it was fantastic. Like, what a noise in St Andrews. Did a touchdown celebration, which I love. It was just a great, not a great game, but if you're beating a newly relegated team on the second game of the season, I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
And I'm just really excited by. I feel like we've now got, and it's still such a work in progress, but we've got a young, exciting squad. I thought Ethan Laird at right back, who's 21, just coming from Man United, he was fantastic. I thought Dion Sanderson, who's finally signed permanently, and he's now the captain. He's only 23. He was absolutely terrific. And Ivan Sunjic just come back from his loan at Hertha Berlin. Kind of seemed like the forgotten man at Blues. Had a great first 6 months with us in 2019, but he's kind of fell off a cliff after that. Really became a shadow of himself. But has come back now. Apparently, had a really bad loan in Germany as well. In his last year of his contract now, he came back and he was absolutely everywhere. Him and Bielik were fantastic in the middle. It was a really weird game because it felt intense. It felt like there was a lot of closing down, a lot of energy, but neither team could kind of get into when it would come to the final third. The final ball was of either end. The final ball was just always really poor. There was really not many clear-cut chances at all. But yeah, I'll take a win any day against Leeds, and that's after a good draw away at Swansea, a really good win away in the Cup at Cheltenham. I know it's only Cheltenham, but apparently we played really well. So I'm really positive, really enthusiastic about the new season.
Well, the Championship's all about momentum, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
So, you've
Absolutely.
got to be able to put runs of results together, and it all
Oh yeah.
adds up at the end of the season. If that makes, that's
Yeah.
a proper Michael Owenism, that is. But,
if you don't score, you hardly ever win.
yeah.
No, yeah, and like as I say, I'm not expecting. I still think we'll be mid-table this year, but that is a huge improvement on what we've had in the past. And for me, it's just as much about enjoying it, if you know what I mean, and just having a team that you can get behind and feeling like the club has a real sort of sense of pride in the community again, which has been really missing for like 10 years or so now.
That bond, or that bond that you have with the club, when, especially in the good times,
Yeah,
it's that sort of family feel.
yeah,
It's hard to describe, isn't it? But it's like when you're enjoying going to matches, and you've got that bounce, and you're looking at the fixtures and go, we can get a result here. It
yeah.
just changes your complete outlook.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And like I say, like it was a poor quality match, but if we're to go toe to toe with the team like Leeds, despite the mess that they're in, and get a result, I'll take that all day long. Honestly, I think and a 91st minute Jukovic winner, I'll take it. I'll take it all day long. His 8th season with us now, our longest serving player by apart from Mark Roberts, who's been there I think 7 years now. He's our longest serving player by some distance. So I think he fully deserved that as well. A shout out to a former Villa man, not necessarily for positive reasons, but Scott Hogan, I would imagine, was probably quite miffed. We've said this before in our conversations that Hogan, as I'm sure you know from your time at Villa, if he's scoring for you, he's great. If he's not scoring for you, he's doing nothing else. He's a proper passenger at times. And he was I'm not necessarily blaming him because, as I say, the final ball was quite poor for a lot of the game. I think he didn't have a lot of service. He's pretty much got a new three behind him as well. Like I think it was Anderson, who's coming from Blackpool. Who else? Dembele and Bakuna, who he knows. But so it might take a while for them all to click. But anyway, Hogan did not have a sniff all game. Then he got subbed off in the 88th minute. In the 91st minute, we got a penalty. Duke, first touch, scores it. Hogan would have been on that penalty otherwise. I think that's so funny. So I bet he was pretty pissed off about that. But Duke, fair play to him, credit to him. Not the finest technique, but it's in the back of the net. That's all I care about. So yes,
So who have you got
shall
this
we?
um, fixtures for the new week? So I
Yes,
assume you're on Saturday at 3 o'clock down.
yeah, we got Bristol City this weekend, who so we're away at Ashton Gate, which has been, I think we lost there last season. It was 4-2, I think. But that was the first time we'd lost there in years. We have like an unbelievable record at Ashton Gate. Got genuinely some amazing memories from beating them away. I think it was something mad. I think we've won there like 9 out of the last 11 or 12 or something. Got an absolutely phenomenal record there. But they've started the season really well as well.
Yeah.
I think they're level on points. I know it's only 2 games in, but they won their cup game, and I think they beat Millwall away, which is a really tough place to go. And I think they drew Preston this week just gone. So we're same identical records as far. Um, so my logic is always win your home games, draw your away games. I'll take a
Yeah.
draw all day long. And I can't see him changing the team too much. Maybe if he's fit, I'm not sure if he will be. Tyler Roberts, I could see maybe going back in. Like to see a bit more of him. He had to miss the Leeds game, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, I can't see him changing it too much because the team's been really impressive so far. And who have you got this weekend?
So we have Everton on Sunday in the dreaded 2 o'clock slot, but it's on television this week. It's on
Oh,
Sky
okay.
Sports. Um,
At
so
Villa Park.
unfortunately, at Villa Park, unfortunately, I
Yeah.
can't go because I was really looking forward to going to the first home game of the
Armchair
season.
fan. Armchair fan.
Yeah, I won't even be able to watch it live. I'm going to have to do the classic: avoid the result, watch it later.
Oh yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
um,
I enjoy that though. I enjoy doing that. It's a good one, isn't it? It's like it's
yeah,
better than
there's
just
a,
like what keeping up with it on your phone or something.
yeah, there's a very good chance I can end up watching it on my flight on Monday morning on the
Oh,
plane.
okay. Nice. Where are you off to this
Um,
time, Jet Setter?
I'm off to Barcelona for
Oh,
a
very
week.
nice. Very
Working,
nice.
working. It's
Oh,
not a
okay, fair
holiday.
enough. Fair enough.
But
You can't squeeze a new camp tour in.
well, this I'll talk about the Villa game in a minute. But I'm so frustrated, Dan, because
Okay.
I knew this event was in the calendar, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's going to be should be a relatively quiet event. I might be able to go do the stadium tour. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
They've only got to knocked it down a week ago. Barcelona aren't playing
Have
there
they?
this season.
I know they're not playing there, but have they actually? Have
Yeah,
they
they've
actually?
bulldozed.
What have they?
They've knocked at least one stand down.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Because we were talking about, so again, we'll get back to the football in a sec. But we
Yeah,
were talking about a city break. So a few of our mates, we just got back from holiday in New York and had an amazing time. We were talking about like the next city break, and we were talking about Barcelona. And then we're like, but Barcelona aren't playing there this season, so we're not. It's
yeah,
like, we said, no, we're not going to go. It's like
yeah.
we'll wait a year or something. That's typical, man. That's typical.
So,
But yes, it
but
is
yeah,
what it is.
we're playing on Everton at home. Weirdly, the second game of last season was Everton at home, and that was our
All
first
right.
home game of the year, and that was on telly.
And
So
what? And you lost, did you?
no, we won 2-1.
All
Um,
right.
Danny Ings and Emi Buendia scored, and Luca Dean scored an own goal as well.
Gosh, a year's a long time in football.
It was Gerrard versus Lampard. That game was
Oh,
BT
wow.
Sport were loving that.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah. Of course they were. Well, TNT as they're known now. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So
Gosh,
I
what a
mean,
disaster.
Everton.
Gerard and Lampard.
Oh God. But Everton, of course, lost their first game of the season to Fulham on
Fulham
Saturday.
at home,
So,
yeah.
um, and then there's been a lot of negative press around them this weekend. So, somebody died at the new
Yeah,
stadium, which was really, really sad.
terrible,
Um, and then also Neil Maupay. I mean, I haven't seen the highlights from their game, but by all intents and purposes, he had a shocker and missed a lot of chances and got
yeah.
some awful abuse on social media that they've had to come
Sorry,
out and
sorry, Callum. I'm going to stop you there. I do not believe for a second that Neil Maupay was missing chances. I'm sorry. That just doesn't sound like Neil Maupay at all. If you go back through our WhatsApp group and if you
Mhm.
search Maupay in our WhatsApp group and you find when he signed for Everton,
Yeah,
I said I just don't get it at all. It's what a terrible sign. He doesn't score ever. He
yeah,
works really hard, but he doesn't score. I don't understand why people rate him so highly. I'm sorry.
yeah. So
Regardless, no room for abuse against him, obviously. Yeah, and it's a weird one with Everton because they just haven't like they don't. From the top of my head, they haven't really recruited anyone new. I like Sean Dyche a lot, but I feel like the squad is exactly what it was last year, and it feels
yeah, they've
like,
added Ashley Young, haven't they?
oh, of course
Is
they
that
have, yeah.
it?
Which is probably a decent buy. I mean, on a free, I can see why someone of his like experience would benefit. But I feel
But he
like
was
until
great for
this,
us last year as well. He was
he
brilliant
was,
and
yeah.
was unlucky not to get a new deal.
I mean, he's been good for a lot. He has been good for his whole career, pretty much. To be fair, hasn't he? Like at Inter and everything, he was terrific. But I feel like with all this stadium stuff hanging over them, it feels like just bad news comes out all the time with them. Um, so I could see you probably having a good reaction from the Newcastle game. I think it's probably a good game for you to have. Everton kind of notorious for crumbling under pressure as well, aren't they? Really?
Well, we'll see. Our record against them is very good, so I would be quite hopeful. So
Yeah. Didn't you
fingers
have them in the
crossed.
second game? You had them this. I don't know why you remember this. The season you came up, you had Wesley scored against them.
That was our second home game, but the third
Oh,
game
okay,
of that
okay.
season where we
Oh, got
won
you, got you.
2-0.
Yeah, yeah. Hotter played. Remember that.
That was his only league assist
You
for
got an
us, I
assist.
think.
You got an assist. Yeah, yeah. Gosh,
Hotter to
the Hotter.
Wesley. That
We'll do
that
a
is a
yeah,
pub quiz question at some
yeah.
point, isn't it?
That's a one-off. We'll do a Hotter special Blues and Villa legend one day.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. This I think that'll lead us in quite nicely to our next section, Dan, as well.
oh yeah, yes. What the people come
Let's
for?
play a game
Yeah,
because I think we've covered everything that we were going to cover. I think, haven't we?
absolutely.
Dan, shall we just play a quick game just to round out the podcast this week?
Yeah,
I've
let's do it, man.
devised a little game for us to play. It's called Squad Number Bingo. So basically, we're going to have to work together, sort of. So we're going to pick a player that's played for both second city clubs. We're going to guess their combined squad number total. So if I did an example, obviously I won't use a second city player, but if we did Danny Ings at West Ham and Villa, at Aston Villa, his squad numbers were number 20 and number 9. And at West Ham, his squad number was 18. So his squad number bingo is 47. So I've got a list of players that have played for both Aston Villa and Birmingham City. Just spin the wheel, and whoever we get, we'll go get it. I've got to guess the Blues players. You've got to get the Villa players, unless it's a player. And there are some really old players on here. We might have to try and help each other out.
Yes, Ulysses de la Cruz is on this list for context. Who I forgot even played for Blues. That's the
So,
challenge we're talking now.
yeah. So that's sort of what we're working with here. So I've spun the wheel and it has popped out. Oh, we've got a nice easy one to start, Dan.
Okay.
Dwight York.
Dwight York, who played for Blues about 13 or 14 times. Honestly, side story, I texted you about this recently. I
Yeah.
did not know Dwight York is Harvey Price's father. I just did not know that. That is some wild shit. I did not. Am I the only person who didn't know that? Did you know that?
Yes, I knew that him
When I
and
heard that, I was
Jordan
like,
had had a kid together.
when
But
I heard that, I was like, what? Dwight York? What? That's random. Like, I just never in a million years did I know that was a thing. But anyway, that's aside. We'll do a pod on that another day on Dwight York's misadventures. But right, he was obviously much more popular at Villa than he was at Blues. Much, or was there for a lot longer anyway.
yeah, I don't know about popular these days because I mean the running gag with Dwight York and Aston Villa at the moment is that whenever we sack a manager, is that he applies for the job and then he doesn't get the job. And
Uh,
say that you know.
but
Uh,
as a player, he was with me for a long time. He's got a lot of goals.
yeah, and then I think he went to Man United and upset
Yeah,
pretty much every Villa fan by doing that.
yeah. I think he's slightly before our time, really, as a Villa at least.
Yeah.
I don't even remember him at Blues, to be honest. That's how long ago it was. About 20 years ago now.
Yeah, I mean, did he play for you after he played for Villa? I guess it did
Yeah, it
start.
was Bruce signed him. I think it was the year before we got relegated for the first time. So it'd be like, yeah, 2004, something like that. I think he scored like once or twice, but yeah.
I mean, I don't really have a lot to go off.
No.
Other
I
than I would imagine he was like he only had a good number, like a
yeah,
proper, and he was of that era as well where your best players had numbers 1 to 11, like your
yeah, sure.
main starting 11, not like today where you've got like Declan Rice is 41
Yeah, yeah.
and what
Trent
have you. So
Alexander-Arnold, 66.
yeah, so I'm gonna say he had one number,
For
and it was
Blues
a
or
number.
Villa, is this?
So, oh yeah, I'm guessing the Blues numbers there, aren't I? So oh, he would have been a marquee signing for you. I could imagine. mm,
From my memory, I don't even think I think he came in midway through a season, is my memory. And I think he left, maybe left at the end of that season. I think it was because Forsell got injured, maybe.
I'd
So he
imagine
would
he
have
would
been
have wanted.
nine. Heskey was there as well already. And Clinton.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we were good
god.
back in these days. How did we not do better? We had a good team back in those days.
I guess if the number 9 was taken, the number 18 probably comes to mind.
Cool. Is that your number? He would have only had one number.
He only would have had one, so yeah, we'll go with the number 18.
Cool. I'm going to say for Villa, he would have been, you say, your thing about, he would have been like, the main numbers, 1 to 11.
Uh,
I'm going to say Dwight York, probably only had one number, even though he was there quite a while. Number 9,
we're both thinking down the same lines then.
yes. So our squad
Right.
numbers is 27
So
for the
I
maths
have
genius.
I've got it up here. Oh my god. Oh my god.
No, what
We
is?
are
Have we done it?
so
No, no. What is it?
oh my
What
god.
is it?
Get your calculator out, Dan.
Okay, here we go. I've got my notepad.
Birmingham City. He had the number
Okay.
33.
Oh my.
Aston Villa. He had the numbers
Numbers. Okay, here we go.
14,
14,
11,
11,
7,
7,
18.
18. Oh, you did say 18. Oh, for Blues.
Um,
No mod.
and then he had 14, 11, 8. Oh, so the number 8, add that in there. Add the number 12 in there.
12. How long was he with? He change number every year. What's all this about?
Number 10 is the
Number
last number
10.
you need to add.
Cool. All right. So bear with me. 33 add 10 is 43. Add 12 is 55. Add 8 is 63. Add 18 is 73, 81.
Oh,
Add 7 is 88. Add 11 is 99. Add 14 is 113. So we said 27. The correct answer is 113.
oh
We
my
were,
god.
how far off were we? We
About
were,
100 out.
yeah, we were pretty damn far off. Yeah, we were 80. Bloody hell, my maths is terrible these days. We were, we were 86 off, I think.
Jeez.
Yeah, we were 86 off. Good job, Cal.
Yeah. I mean,
To be
he
fair,
had
I think
three numbers a season near enough.
yeah, I think I am mostly responsible for that. To be fair, I did number 9, and about 100 of them were for Villa numbers. Let's hope we do better next week. Hopefully, we have an easier one. Maybe Heskey or something would be quite easy, I think.
The only way is up from there, isn't it?
The only way is up. And the only way is up for Villa at the minute because we had a terrible result this week.
Yeah.
But enjoy the game against Everton anyway. It's live on Sky.
Yeah. Good luck at Ashton Gate, I suppose.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to try and catch the game on WM. I'm in work, but I'll try and catch it on WM afterwards. That should be pretty something to look forward to at least. Good old Wilford on comms. I'll take that.
We love Wilford on comms.
We do, we do. Did you want to do the little outro thing if you've enjoyed
Oh,
today's
yeah.
podcast? Yes, I've got it up here if you want me to.
Yeah. Do you want to do the bold or the non-bold?
Shall I do I'll do the not bold one if you want.
Yeah. On by me.
Cool. So thank you for listening, and if you have enjoyed today's podcast, please do subscribe on whichever podcasting platform you are listening on or on YouTube.
And leave a 5-star review while you're at it as well.
You can also follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yeah, you can find us with the handle at Second City Pod.
That's Second City Pod.
Yeah,
Cal,
so that'd be the 2ND, not the word second.
Oh, yes, 2ND. Remember that. Cal, great catching up with you again. And
Pleasure.
We'll chat this time next week, I think.
Yeah, some point next week. Hopefully we won't have been battered.
No, hopefully not. Same. Touche. Can relate. Nice one. Chat to you next week, Cal. Take it easy.
No worries. See you later.